What's up everyone? Alex here. Have you played both the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide? If so, then you'd be surprised to learn that its designer, Davey Wreden, also had a hand in Wanderstop. I believe that just by simply learning about this, fans familiar with his work will no doubt see Wanderstop in a different light. After all, one of the biggest thematic elements between all three games is our relationship with work. Only this time, it's done through the lens of a relaxing tea shop management sim. Though, to be quite honest, there's not really much to manage here. That's because Wanderstop is the antithesis of every game that claims to be cozy, actually staying true to the word for once. Before I get into the game, I do want to clarify what I just said. First and foremost, I believe that the cozy genre is one of the most misleading genre names in recent gaming memory. And I want to be clear by saying that while I don't have any sort of close kinship with the genre, I do recognize that there are great games to be found in it. But I can't ignore the fact that cozy games are littered with things that need to be done, keeping up with an unbelievably rigid schedule and daily time limit, along with stamina management that makes its gameplay loop feel more like a survival game. I mean, come on, if you don't manage your energy well, you just collapse on the ground. It's in this sense that cozy games are quote-unquote cozy in that you're allegedly living an idyllic life that, by no fault of its own, closely mirrors some of the rigidity of people's normal day-to-day lives. On the other hand, Wanderstop forgoes any checklists or goals in general so that you can truly take your time playing the game however you want. Yes, this also means that by doing so, you won't be progressing the main story, but that's kind of the point of its meta-narrative here. You play the role of Alta, a distinguished fighter who has been undefeated for many years. That is, until she wasn't. Determined to win again, she trains hard and reaches the top of her field, only to be defeated yet again. She then decides to seek out an old colleague to train underneath her with the hopes of becoming even more powerful, only to have her energy completely drained as she enters a magical forest. What's puzzling about this is that out of every traveler that enters these woods, she's the only one whose energy gets sapped completely. This leads to a kind tea shop owner named Boro to bring her to his shop to see if she can recover. If you're already thinking that Alta's been burnt out by her job, then you're following the train of thought that I began this review with. Alta's plight is something that everyone seeking cozy games to play wishes to experience. A respite from responsibility, a true idyllic experience that allows us to actually give pause from our normal daily routine. And while Wanderstop itself does have customers that you'll have to tend to, there's no big ramifications for giving them the wrong tea, other than you can't continue their story. Oh, and they won't leave until you serve them the tea that they wanted. Wanderstop has you gathering tea leaves, harvesting crops, making tea, and bartering, in some cases, to fulfill the needs of the customers that wander into your little grove. Mechanically, there's nothing really complicated about Wanderstop. Planting crops has you placing down seeds in different formations and watering them to yield crops or more seeds, depending on the complexity of the formations. Then, you just simply harvest them. You gather tea leaves just by thwacking tea bushes with your basket and then drying them to make tea balls. Then you make the specific tea by undergoing an easy multi-step process where the biggest puzzle, truly, is finding out the proper tea to give to each customer. And even then, Wanderstop provides you with an answer book that will literally tell you the right tea to make, even going so far as to spell out the exact ingredients you'll need. So in case it wasn't clear, you're not playing Wanderstop to be challenged. You're playing Wanderstop to relax and slow things down. Unlike other beverage-slinging games, Wanderstop allows you to drink the tea that you made to learn more about Alta's past, providing a ton of context as to how she turned into the character we're playing as. Alta's story, as well as the tales of the many customers you'll encounter, are endearing, relatable, and very grounding, despite the game's fantastical settings. It's as though this fantastical clearing serves as the intersection between multiple worlds, with each newly arrived customer bringing in a multitude of different perspectives that are sure to remind some of us of either ourselves or people we know. And as someone who's experienced burnout in its many different faces, I can't help but empathize with Alta's situation. She truly loves being a fighter, and her love for it is tested in multiple ways as you progress through Wanderstop's plot. But something that rings true with what Boros says close to the beginning is that sometimes all of this pain and effort adds up, which might explain why she just merely collapses upon entering the magical forest. What's crazy about all of this is that despite Wanderstop being a true cozy game, Alta is obsessed with working, literally to the point that she is begging people to have her make tea for them. And if you really think about it, her attitude isn't so dissimilar to cozy game players who get sucked into the rigmarole of their respective game's daily demands. Again, this isn't a critique on the genre, but it does make you think how much of what we do is because we can't disconnect from the idea of work. It's in this sense that Wanderstop is a fitting name. It's one of those 10 to 12 hour narrative-driven journeys you'll wander into that will have you stop to smell the roses or whatever flowers and plants can be found right by its tea shop. It's a game that I've almost fallen asleep to a few times, and for once, that's not a bad thing. It's a statement piece that reminds all of us that while life can move quickly around us, that we don't necessarily have to be swept up by it, and that sometimes the most important choice we make is to hit pause for a brief moment to catch our breath. It's bold, not unlike some of the tea that you'll serve, and anyone who truly needs this cozy break will find lots to love and learn from this sweet and thoughtful game.